This is episode 4 of the Brand Authority Podcast.
This is the Brand Authority Podcast, the show for growth-driven leaders who want to win more customers, increase revenue, and gain the competitive edge. Broadcasting from sunny Los Angeles, here's your host, Rebekah Radice.
Today we're going to talk about how to tell your brand story on Facebook. Using storytelling on Facebook can be a very powerful way to connect with your target audience. Through the magic of a past experience, something you've been through within your own life, your own business, you're able to craft unique stories that provide your customers, your audience, your Facebook fans with a new perspective on their current situation. It's no wonder 92% of people say they want brands to create content that tells a story. So if you're not telling stories right now, if you're not sharing stories across social media, but especially on Facebook, today's episode is going to help you create your own unique story. It shouldn't come as any surprise to you, but people love to learn more about you, about what your business does, about what made you start your company, or why you became an entrepreneur or opened up your local business. They want to gain a better understanding into your motivation and what gets you out of bed, what gets you excited and fired up to work within your business every single day. And your story is really going to go a long way in allowing them to gain that further insight into what your company is all about, what problems you solve, and why that passion and that energy fuels you every single day within your business still today. So where do you begin? Well, first of all, recognize that stories bind and connect. They create those points of interest. They encourage deeper, more significant relationships. Ian Roden, the chief marketing officer of the Virgin Group, puts it this way. He says, the best brands are built on great stories. And I couldn't agree more. It's just think about those stories from the brands that you follow across social media. It's really the reason why you started to follow them in the first place, or why we choose one brand over the other. For example, think about the last time you bought a car. There's a lot of factors, of course, that go into a very large decision like buying a car, but much of your why you actually ended up with the car that you have now, came towards your feelings or because of your feelings towards that brand. Whether it was born into you, like your family, your grandfather bought a Ford, your dad bought a Ford, you bought a Ford, whether it was born into you or it's been learned over time. So through your last several purchases, you realized, like myself, that I'm a huge Audi lover. I have driven multiple different Audis. I'm on my third or fourth one at this point, and I love everything about the brand. So whether it's learned over time or it's born into you, your relationship with that company, with that brand, really alters and steers your decision. And how you connect is based off of the story they tell, but also the way that they tell that story and whether or not it resonates with you, whether or not it speaks to you on a very real level. And that is your job. Your job is to figure out what's your story, how can you tell it in a way that's relatable to your Facebook audience, and then how do you continue to share that story over time so that you're extending that relationship, you're giving more details and allowing people further inside your own world. The goal is to make your story clear, compelling, and genuine. You want anybody connecting with you, whether it's on Facebook or anywhere else on social media, to instantly connect with the essence of your brand. And just like anything else, we talk so much about authenticity in social media. It's got to be real, right? Because A, you can't keep up with a story that isn't really yours if you've swapped a story from somebody else. And B, it's going to be really hard to remember your story if it isn't real and it didn't really happen to you within your own business. And people connect with people. They connect with those stories. So they're going to sense whether or not you're telling the truth or whether or not you've kind of fabricated some of those details to encourage that interaction or to game the system or to try to drive engagement. I think we've all seen that where you can tell people are just telling some big story because they want more likes, they want more shares, they want more conversions. And while all of that engagement is important, authenticity needs to be the center or the foundation of what you're talking about across anywhere on social media. But before you can jump in and actually sit down and write your story, and I'm going to give you a formula to doing this, you need to draft it in your head. We need to sit down and go through a few key questions that are going to take you a little bit of time. So you're going to really want to give yourself some space, some room, sit down in a place where it's quiet. You've got the ability to really think these things through. So here's the first place to start. Answer, what are the top 3 problems you solve? So as you think about your perfect customer, that person you're looking to connect with, what do you do for them on a daily basis? So what is their problem? What are they looking to you for? And then what is your solution? Next is what 2 to 3 details about your company make you unique? What is it that helps you stand out? And again, I would encourage you to think about the companies that you've done business with in the past. What are those unique skills or traits? What are the habits of their business that really stand out in your mind? Write all of those down. Maybe they're words, maybe they're phrases, maybe they're whole sentences, whatever helps you think through this process to get to the bottom of your unique details. Write as much as you need to. And then, and this is fun, what are the top 3 words anybody would use to describe your company? Now, if you haven't thought about this, and for some people, it's really hard, right? It's hard to talk about yourself. It's hard to pat yourself on the back or to give yourself kudos or accolades. So if that is difficult for you, then do this. Sit down with people you trust. So sit down with family members, with peers, with team members, employees, people that know you inside and out and could give you those top 3 words that when they think about you, they, ecstatic comes to mind, empathetic, all those different words that need to spill out of their mouths and into your head and then into the hearts of your audience. Your next step is pulling your 3 answers together. So those questions that you just answered, we're going to pull all of those together to form a story. It's really a quick 30-second way to express who you are and who you want to connect with. So what you're doing here is you're creating what you've probably heard the term of an elevator pitch. Okay, kind of old school. We're going to use this across social media and especially on Facebook to tell your story. But what it does is it brings total clarity around your product, your service. It brings clarity around who you're looking to connect with, because what you're creating here is a scenario where the exact right person is able to envision themselves becoming your customer, your client, and they're able to self-select, make that decision instantaneously and on their own because you've done such a great job painting that picture for them. So first things first, take the time, sit down, answer those 3 questions, and then write out what your story looks like based on the 3 problems you solve, details about you that make you unique, and then the top 3 words anybody would use to describe your company. Then we're going to move on to some ways that you can actually tell your story on Facebook. A great way to share your story is through visuals. And if you have connected with me anywhere across social media, you know I am a huge fan of visual marketing. What a fantastic way they are to connect with your audience and be able to share your story in a way that text-based posts just can't do. You can use visuals to share a snippet of your why. You can use visuals to share a quote that's important to you. So maybe look back at your old blog post and pull out just little snippets that help you tell a little bit more about maybe your methodology, your thought process, or how you arrived at why you do something in a very specific way within your business. Allow that content and allow visuals to help you create that thought leadership, but also extend the value of your brand. I must be stuck on automobiles today, but a great example is Volkswagen. If you take a look at Volkswagen on their Facebook page, there's just no doubt about who they are, the value they bring, their history. I love how they share their history of the company on Facebook, but every single one of their visuals is really to help you understand the heritage behind this particular company. And the Beetle is one that's been around forever, years and years and years. And you can see how they've built out across their timeline the culture, the experience of owning one of their automobiles, but especially the Beetle throughout the year. And you can do the same with Facebook in building out a timeline and an experience around your brand, that experience that every single one of your customers has felt. Another great way to tell your brand story on Facebook is through user-generated content. So if you take a close look at some of the top brands on Facebook, you're going to notice that many of them these days are sharing user-generated content. And it's really not surprising when you see the massive benefits to doing exactly this. User-generated content, it showcases your fans. It helps build a community, provides social proof for your company, and does it all through the testimonial of somebody else. So rather than you showing up on Facebook and shouting your own praises, you're allowing somebody else to do that on your behalf. In essence, it allows your customers to tell your company's story for you. So some ways that you can use user-generated content. You could share positive Facebook visitor posts, maybe a review, images of customers using your product. GoPro, one of my favorite brands across social media, is just doing such a fabulous job with user-generated content. That's pretty much all they share, is how other people are using GoPro within their lives to share pieces of their life. You can share user-generated content with product review, maybe videos, blogs, so many different ways to showcase the ways people are using your product within their own world. In episode 3, we talked about the different types of video that you should be using within your business. If you haven't listened to that, I highly suggest you go back, because video is such an awesome force within business today. You really don't want to miss out on it. But telling your brand story on Facebook, this is a critical piece. You can use live video to give a behind the scenes look at your business. So lots of different ways, like I said, to use live video, especially just video, period. But Facebook Live, it can amplify your message and your brand story. It makes your business feel human, feel real. It really puts a face behind your business as opposed to just a name or just a page. So how can you use that behind the scenes live look into your business? Well, you can give viewers a quick tour of your facility. So maybe you're a warehouse or a local business. Show them how you make your product. If you're a bakery, take them in and show them how you make your delicious cupcakes. My goodness, BuzzFeed has created a whole lot of buzz on Facebook off of videos just like that. You could do a walkthrough of a specific process or maybe insight into how your product is created. You create widgets, show them how you do it, every single little teeny tiny step. The goal is to tell your story, build engagement, and all the while creating an appreciation of your business as you take it from abstract to real in mere minutes. And finally, you can tell your brand story on Facebook by sharing your company milestones and events. I am certain as a company, especially one if you've been around for a while, you have a lot of events or milestones, both big and small, that have happened within your business. And there's no better way to showcase those than to share them with your Facebook fans. So let them in on the celebration. You can do this by sharing just a status update, maybe a photo, creating a video, or even going live to tell your audience about anything from your first employee or your major client, maybe a big company event, a move to a new location. You've launched a new product or service, maybe press coverage, or a new employee that just came in to solve a very specific problem that your audience has. Whatever the case, Facebook lets you create and share milestones for both current and past events. So take advantage of both of those and allow your Facebook fans that little bit of unique insight into what goes on behind the scenes within your business. So in wrapping up, I don't think there's any doubt that storytelling can be used to really spell out who you are, what your core values are, how your business works. The problem is how to pull that out of yourself, right? I see that tug of war with so many people I speak with in, I have a story, but it's not that unique, or it's not that cool, or I just don't have a sexy product. And as I've said so many times, sexiness for a company is in the eye of the beholder. So walk in the shoes of your target market, of your audience, and think about what it is that they need so desperately that you provide, because your story, that is going to be the connector that really binds them to you. So go back to those 3 questions I initially asked and take your time to answer those. And in 300 characters, just write down those most important elements, those key takeaways anybody connecting with you on Facebook is going to need to know about. And here's the bonus, extra that comes with that is you can actually use this across any of your social networks, on your blog, on your website. It becomes an about, a bio. It can be used in multiple different ways. But of course, today we're just talking about how to tell your brand story on Facebook. But don't be afraid to share this in a consistent way across anywhere and everywhere you're online. Your goal today is to start creating your own stories and sharing them on Facebook. And then sit back, watch how people react. I guarantee you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to start to draw in that engagement when people see you're real, you're authentic, you're interacting, you're sharing a story, and you're allowing them to better understand who you are and not keeping them at arm's length or holding them back or being very short in the content you share. Instead, you become relatable. You become interesting so people can become interested in you. I'd love to hear about your experience. So come on over and join me across social media. Tweet me at Rebekah Radice, or you can find me across social media at Rebekah Radice or on my website, RebekahRadice.com. Thanks for listening to the Brand Authority Podcast, brought to you by RadiantLA.com, helping growth-driven leaders win more customers, increase revenue, and gain the competitive edge. If you like what you heard, please share your review on iTunes. It's such an important way for others to find us, so thank you in advance for taking the time to pop over, and we've made it easy for you. You can go to RadiantLA.com/authority to share your thoughts. And don't forget to also share with your friends and colleagues that you think would be interested in the Brand Authority Podcast as well. Until next time, look forward to seeing you online and back here for another episode of the Brand Authority Podcast.